6 months ago, I'd travelled into an area of Scotland often referred to as Scotland's last wilderness. And it was a demanding trip, trying to get over 2 mountains I hadn't been on before. The weather was great, but the ground was rough and it took me longer than expected. And it was on this expedition where I maybe overdid it and hurt my knee, and for the last 6 months I've been recuperating and trying to get my knee sorted. Anyway, on this trip I returned to the same area and really test myself out for the first time in 6 months. And I was aiming to go up 4 mountains this time, but I wasn't really sure if I was going to make it or not. Join me now as I head in and start the adventure. Well, what a spot. The camera's inside the van, but I'm not going to be using the van in this adventure, hopefully. I'm just using it to spend the night here. I'm about 20 minutes away from the ferry terminal and I'm going to be getting a ferry first thing in the morning. And yeah, I'm really hoping this is going to be a good adventure. I'm going to an area which there's 4 hills I'm going to be doing, 3 of which I've never done before. Really looking forward to it. I've got the tent. It's going to be a bit of an adventure, and what a place to spend the night. This is just gorgeous. Looking out onto some wee islands and listening to the sea lap up against the shoreline here. Quite happy with this spot, so I'm going to chill for the night and I'll probably report back to you in the morning once I reach the ferry terminal. But wow, what a spot. Right, good morning people. Look at that view behind me, isn't that just absolutely breathtaking? That's Egg, the wee flat topped one, and Rum is the other one. And it's looking fine. And it's the next morning, if you can't already tell that. And what a beautiful morning it is. And yeah, I'm not at my destination yet. If I turn around, you'll see the view's nice this way, but over there is a car park, and my van is just over yonder. I've just been sitting up, getting all my bits and bobs ready because the ferry's in about a couple of hours, but I had to come here nice and early. The reason being is I forgot my, my gas canister, which is a bit annoying, but anyway, I think there's a shop that opens at 9 and I should have some gas. Either that or I'll be eating cold food, which I'm not really looking forward to. Anyway, I'm just going to sit here for a while, have a coffee, and then I'll report back when I'm on the ferry. Right, let's go back, finish packing up and go along and get this gas canister. Right, I am down, hopefully at the right place. I think this is maybe the ferry behind me, just there. And yeah, just waiting. I'm about an hour early, so a wee bit ahead of schedule, but I'd rather be here in plenty of time. And I got some gas as well. Lovely wee shop called Johnson's on the corner. So I'm all set and my bag is super heavy. I'm looking forward to this. Right, I'll report back when we're hopefully on there. With the weather set fair, we set off on the ferry, headed for our destination across the water. And to say I was apprehensive would be an understatement. I really hadn't done more than day trips since that last trip out to this area, and I wasn't sure if I was going to make it up 1 hill, let alone 4, especially with the big pack and wild camping again. But anyway, we were soon arriving at the destination and I got off the ferry and sat for a while, just watching the waves lap up against the pier, and saw the ferry head back over to the port with the people that were heading back from this wonderful place. Right, as you can see, I've arrived at the campsite. What a beautiful place. And it's quite warm. I didn't think I'd be saying that. Anyway, I'm going to get the camp set up, or my tent set up, right on the beach. Lovely. And then I'm going to be heading up the mountain, so let me get the tent up. And then I'll probably sit for a while before heading on the hike, and I'll report back to you once I've got everything set and ready to go. My summer gear today, my Sea to Summit Spark 2 I think it is, lovely, and my Sea to Summit ground mat as well, should keep me through the night without getting too cold. Right, I'm heading on a hike now, head up the first mountain of 4. Right, let's go. Oh, what a day, lovely. So after getting my tent set up, I set off for the first mountain of the trip. And it was a Corbett, which I initially and mistakenly thought might be a nice, easy way to ease myself into this adventure. But how wrong could I be, as you'll soon find out. Alright folks, not done that many pieces to camera because this is just horrendous. There's no path and it's that kind of soft, spongy, tussocky, horrible wet grass. But anyway, I've stopped here. You can still see the campsite down there. My tent is, I've only probably done about 100 metres of ascent. But I'm really hoping this hillside dries out a bit and this tussocky grass does one because it's rather painfully slow. But I'll maybe get up here and I'll stop and do a proper bit to camera, but I'm just using this as an excuse to rest. God, if I'm going to be like this for the rest of the trip, there's not much point in me carrying on. Oh man, right, let's go. The weather for the previous few days had been pretty heavy rain, and the ground, although it doesn't look it here, was pretty saturated. And with no path, I picked my way up, trying to avoid standing on any of the lovely bluebells. But I must say I was feeling a bit demoralised. This was really, really tough going. Rough bounds indeed. Ooh, what a view. Lovely. And that mountain over there, over my shoulder, is the one I'm headed for. And that's not actually the top. Once you get up there, it's quite a long, undulating up and down ridge, which is quite characteristic for this area. And I don't know if I've said who I am yet. I'm in the rough bounds of Knoydart, and some have called this the last wilderness. But it's certainly rough. I don't know about wilderness, I've said this before, I don't think there is any true wild areas left in the UK. But anyway, if you're going to get somewhere remote and wild in the UK, this is probably about as wild and remote as it gets in this part of the world. Anyway, where I came into was Inverie, and that's one of the most cut off communities in the UK as well, because there's no road into it. There's a road in on it, but it doesn't go anywhere. So the only way in is either a long walk in from inland or Barrisdale, Kinlochhourn, or getting a boat over from Mallaig like I did, and it was lovely. And yeah, the weather's great out west. This cloud is inland. Out west it's blue skies, which is lovely, getting views over the sky. It's beautiful, but if I said that, I'm going to be honest with you, I really haven't enjoyed this walk so far. I don't know, it's just been a bit, no paths, just a lot of rain over the last few days, so the ground's just been horrendous. But I'm now, yeah, I've now got a path, so let's see if that improves things and improves my mood. Let's go. Oh, there you go, there's a few midges. Right, I've just been sat on this rock for about 20 minutes, feeling a bit sorry for myself. Struggled up here I'm about 450 metres, and I think once I get onto the ridge, the start of the ridge is about another 300 metres of ascent behind me. I think it starts to level out and it's undulating, and I just looked at the walk report again, and the total walk's about 1200 metres of ascent, although the peak is only 850 metres. There's lots of ups and downs when we get up there, so I don't think it's going to do much for my mood. But anyway, look at this behind me, isn't this just wonderful? See out to Skye, Rum, Egg. I think as I go higher up I'll get better views of them, and then over at the other objectives for the next few days, as I said, I'm hoping to do four mountains. At the moment I'll be struggling to do another one after this. Anyway, right, time to get going. Right, let's go. Ah man, well the going's getting a bit better underfoot, still a bit squelchy in places, but look at this view. It's one of the things about the west coast of Scotland. When you get the mountains and the sea, I don't think anything beats that combination. I just absolutely love it. And the tide's out down there, and you can see the white sands of the beach where my tent is, away down yonder, and then out to sea and all the islands. Just lovely. So yeah, not quite on the top of the ridge yet, but as I said a wee while ago, there's a nice cooling breeze now, which is really helping, because this is hot work. Right, let's go. First summit. This one's called Sgurclair nan Gavar, and this is finally me on the ridge, and I can see it winding away up and down ahead of me. But look at this, I think this will probably be the best view that I get all day. Absolutely fabulous, because this is the westerlymost peak. I'm kind of heading inland now, but wow, this has improved my mood. So because the view's so good here, I'm actually going to sit down here, have a bite to eat. I've got a couple of Scotch, no I don't have Scotch eggs, it's pork pies I've got today actually. I had a Scotch egg earlier on before getting on the boat. So anyway, what a place to sit and have something to eat. Oh, wow, what a view. Right, suppose I better get moving if I want to get to the top. Oh, what a view though. Good, okay. I must admit, I did find it hard to pull myself away from that first summit because the views were so good, but I knew I still had quite a bit of up and down as I headed from this first summit along the ridge to the true summit of the mountain, Ben Vuda. Oh, look at this. Wow. Well, I can see my first mountain of the day. Well, that top was really a top of this hill here. Ben Vuda, should I say. And what's really catching the eye actually is if you look beyond the peak, which I'm going up, you can see Sgurr na Cish, and my God, you can see why it's a Sgurr. It's really pointy from this direction. Wow. And all the other hills of Knoydart. But I've got a fair drop here to drop down to the Bealach, and then up the hill. What time are we at now? 10 to 4, I think. I'll be lucky if I'm up there by 5, but I am taking my time. This is going to be quite a strenuous few days for me. Certainly the most strenuous I've had since my knee wasn't playing ball. So I'm going to try and not talk about that, but we'll see how we go. I'll just take my time. Got plenty of hours of daylight left. I think I'll get dark about 10:30 tonight, so plenty of time to get up here, and then I'll decide which way I'm coming down. So let's bash on a bit of downhill before the final uphill pull. Let's go. Oh, that's me ascending now. Oh man, you notice I've got my cap on back to front. That's not me trying to make a fashion statement, because I know it looks really cool. But I do that when the sun's at my back, saves my neck getting burnt. Just in case you were wondering. Right, just come over that hill behind me there. I thought I must be there. This must be the top. It's not. Still a wee bit to go and it drops down again. Tell you what, I'm feeling it. And my cap theory that I was telling you about didn't quite work because the peak kept hitting the backpack, so I've turned it back around again. You might be wondering why I've got the buff under here as well. I don't know if I've talked about that before, but the reason I wear a buff under the cap when it's warm is that, one, it helps soak up the sweat, and two, it helps protect my ears from being sunburnt. And if it gets really warm, I can dunk it in some water and then put it back on. It cools me off. And I tell you what, I might be doing that soon, because I think I'm going to be quite warm. Trying to get to the peak of Ben Vuda. Oh man, right, let's go. Wow. Woohoo! I'll tell you, I am glad to be at the summit. Time where we're at now. 4:45. I'm going to find a stone to sit on and just chill for 15 minutes. Have my last pork pie before deciding which way I'm going to head back down. What a place. Tell you what, there's no easy peaks in Knoydart, that's for sure. Oh man. Oh. Well, I've had my final pork pie, and the views are just spectacular from here. I mean, inland, as I said, back to some of the other Knoydart peaks. Scunakish is probably one of the most famous Knoydart Munros. Well, maybe not, maybe Ladhar Bheinn, which is over here. But the views are just lovely. I can see Ben Nevis, I can even see Bidgeon and Glencoe. It's quite clear for an early summer's day. Usually it gets a bit hazier in the summer, but the views are pretty good. I can see for miles and miles. But as good as the views are back in towards the mainland, my eye just always keeps getting taken out to see out to Egg and Rum and the Coolin, and you can even see beyond. I don't know if you'll make it out in the camera, but beyond, between sort of Rum and Skye, there's some more islands away out, and I'm not sure what they are. Outer Hebrides of sorts, but I'm not sure which ones. It's just lovely. So the choice is, there is a way to make this a circular route, so I drop down here into the valley and it's a long walk back. But you know what, I'm just going to go back the way I came, and the main reason for that is I'm going to be facing those views nearly all the way. And although there's a few ups and downs on the ridge, it's pretty dry. It's just when I drop down it's going to be boggy, but pretty sure it'll be boggy down that way as well. So I'm going to head back down this way, a bit more of ups and downs, but it's more than made up for by those views. So I'm going to shut up and get it going. It's after 5 now, and I'm getting a bit hungry, even though I've just had that pork pie. Let's get back to the tent at the beach. Woo. Let's go. Finally spotted me. Now we can see them, some deer there. Don't really want to scare them. They often come up into these high hills when it's warm down. I think they're trying to get away from the midges because there's always a bit of a breeze up here. And they're watching me and I'm watching them. Right, that's me back. And the summit that was on earlier on. Oh, I might just sit here for a while, look at that. What a view. Doesn't get better than that, right? Sit my bum down here for 10 minutes before the descent back to the campsite, which is down there. Downhill, but down that spongy, horrible, soaking wet ground. Don't know if I'm going to manage another 3 days. Oh man, this is what makes it worth it though. Look at that. Oh man, right. I've just come down off the top there. That peak there was the one with the fantastic view. And I noticed at this dam there was a track going down from the dam. And I just thought it was so horrible coming up the first 300 metres with that boggy, tussocky grass. I just thought, I'm going to give this a bash. I've come down to the dam now. This seat here trickling over, it's very nice actually, very soothing. Quite keen to put my, my feet in there, but I'm not going to. The track's just over here, so I'm going to give it a bash. I'm going to head over here and see where the track goes, because it can't be any worse, even if it's longer in terms of distance. I think it'll be quicker, if that makes sense, because going down that last bit, I was just dreading that. So let's see, yeah, let's see how we go. It's still beautiful. Look at this. Wow. There's the track just over there. So, let's go. Right, just about back now. I'm off the mountain, which is up behind me there, if you can see it. Oh, doesn't look that big, does it? But I decided to come off that track. It was heading zigzagging. It would have taken me a wee bit longer, but it brought me a fair bit down, to be honest with you. But when I cut off it, I was back onto that horrible horrible ground. So if you do come down that way, I'd recommend you just stay on that track, unlike me. Oh, I can't wait to get back. I ran out of water on the top actually, so I've had anything to drink for a couple of hours. But that's my own fault. Bad planning and all that. Just going to cross a cattle grid, just watch my feet. Yes, I'm nearly back at the campsite. I'll speak to you when I get back to the tent. Right, let's go. As soon as I got back to the campsite, I filled up with water. I was quite thirsty, having run out of water, and I was also pretty tired. That was a tough mountain. I've said it before, but having a path makes a massive difference, and there was hardly any paths up there, and the ground had been wet from the previous few days, and I was feeling it. In fact, I was questioning my sanity on going up 4 more peaks, but we'll see how we go. But at the moment, I was certainly feeling like that was going to be a long shot. Well, this is just idyllic. There's a few midges out now. They just appeared. There wasn't so many of them earlier on. There's a wee bit of a breeze, but I think the sun's just going to go down shortly. It's just about to crest the horizon, and yeah, today it was tougher than I thought it was going to be. The walking on top of the ridge, once I got onto the ridge, the first top over to the summit was just fabulous. I mean, some of the best walking I've done. Those views were just so yeah, I can't really explain how happy I was with the views and the whole thing, but the getting up onto the ridge and also coming down off it was just a nightmare. I think if I was going to suggest anything with this hill, would be to leave it for a sustained dry spell, because it was just boggy and really, really rough. The rough bounds, really rough. Anyway, that's day 1. I've still got 3 to do. I feel like I'm maybe bitten off more than I can chew, if I'm being honest with you. But we'll see. I'll get up tomorrow and head up this second mountain and see how I get on, and then it's a long walk in with a heavy pack to do a wild camp for the next 2 nights, culminating on the plan is to culminate on a summit camp for a special event that I'll go into in more detail. But anyway, I think I might retreat into the midge-free tent with the zip up in a minute, because they are starting to come at me. Hope you've enjoyed the video so far up until this point, and I'm hoping that the weather's going to remain like this for the remainder, and it is forecast. So yeah, I'll sign off this now, and I'll see you in the morning. Well, good morning people. It's 8:30 and I'm on the hill. I slept quite well last night. It was a bit cold in the early hours actually. I had to snuggle up inside my sleeping bag, so I don't know, it did say it was going to be a cold evening, and it certainly was. Anyway, I'm up now, I've had some coffee and a wee bite to eat for breakfast, and the plan for today's going to be a big day. Today I will be heading up this hill first. There's a Corbett and a mountain. I'm going to head up with my light pack, then back to the tent. This is the plan. Whether it happens or not, we'll see. Then back to the tent, maybe get a bite to eat. Then it's a long walk in, and I'm going to have to try and find somewhere to wild camp tonight, because today I'm trying to get quite high, as high as I can, but that's going to be easier said than done, because I've been struggling enough with the backpack, nice and light as it is, but when I fill it with the tent, and all my camping gear, it's going to be a blooming nightmare. But anyway, let's just concentrate on getting up this mountain first, and I'll report back in a wee while. I'll just head through some forestry, then I'll be out in the open hillside, so I'll report back then. I'm almost at the end, or the edge of this forest, and about to head into the open hillside. There's something nice and cooling. Don't know what it is, but it's just cooler. Well, it's obviously because the sun's not getting to it, but lovely, cool temperature in the forest. Quite enjoyed it. I think I'm going to be sweaty Betty heading up here, but look at these views. One bad thing about being in the forest is you can't see them, but I can now. Let's go. So I headed up out of the forest and onto more open ground eventually, and it just was fabulous. The weather was great, and the views behind me out over sea to the islands were brilliant, and that was something that was going to continue. It was just so far so good. What a fantastic place. Now, although this is shorter and a sharper pull up than yesterday's, it's much nicer because there's a lovely path. Well, it's not a lovely path, but there's a path which was kind of non-existent on yesterday's hill, and just makes the going so much easier. And with those views like I've got over my shoulder, yeah, it's hard to not be smiling all the way up. Absolutely lovely. Anyway, I'm about a third of the way up, so I need to keep on moving and hope that this path doesn't disappear. Unlike yesterday's mountain, the presence of a path, as I mentioned, was making things so much easier. It was just nice having levelish ground to walk along and not having to worry too much about the navigation. As I said, this hill is about the same height, but it's a lot shorter and probably steeper ascent than yesterday's, but much, much easier. And those views, did I mention the views? Wow, what a place. Oh, right, about halfway I think. Can now see the final ridge of the mountain I need to go up to, which I'll spin you around to in just a second. Alright. Hopefully you can see the mountain behind me now. That's the summit. And yeah, there's a wee bit of high cloud coming in now, which I'm quite glad of, because it's still sunny, but if the sun can just be shaded out a wee bit, might make it a bit cooler and a bit easier. But yeah, this ridge up here looks fine. The paths continue to be so much better than yesterday, and the views are just stunning. I can see over to the Coolin Ridge again, and I'm really looking forward to the views from the summit of this mountain. So let's crack on and see what they're like. The upper reaches of this mountain are just fabulous. The ridge narrows and the hillside drops down to the sea. It really is one of the finest mountains I've been on for quite some time. It's just beautiful. And before long, I was approaching the summit of my second Corbett. Oh. Ah, yes. Ooh. Here we are. I think this is called Sgúrcoir Connachin? Sgúrcoir Connachin? Sgúr anyway, that's certainly the appropriate word for this mountain. Anyway, lovely. As per yesterday, the views are just spectacular. Over my shoulder you're looking to Ladhar Bheinn and Milavuda, the other the Munros in, a couple of the Munros in Knoydart. Then on this side, I don't know if you'll make it out, but that's Ladhar Bheinn. And once I'm finished here, I'm actually heading back to way back down to the tent, which is right at my feet really. And then it's a long walk round, and I'm going to start heading towards Ladhar Bheinn. It's a long walk in, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to be honest with you, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but I'm going to give it the best go that I can. But this is just wonderful. I'm going to sit here, have a pork pie, and then head back to the tent. But what a place. Absolutely stunning. Oh, there's a lovely breeze up here as well. But I suppose I need to make a move, get back down to the tent and see if I can head down. I'm heading away over there actually. I can see where I'm hoping to go. Whether I get there or not, I'm not entirely sure. But lovely, let's get going. Back to the tent, and yeah, I'll report back when I'm a wee bit further down the mountain. Things were going okay. I'd been taking my time, but I was more than aware that I had a long and a lot of hiking still to do today. I had to drop down this steep mountain, get back to the tent, and then the hard pit, load up all my camping gear and go for a long hike to find a wild camping spot later in the day. I still wasn't sure whether my body was going to make it and get there today or not. Right, that's me making my way down the mountain. See the bay behind me, and the first port of call for me is actually going to be the shop. I'm going to get a wee fizzy drink hopefully and a sandwich. I'm also going to see if they've got any blister plasters. I haven't got any in my bag. I'm pretty sure I left them in the tent, but I'm starting to get a wee bit of rubbing on my right heel, which is a bit concerning. The good news is my knee's been fine, which wasn't the case when I was coming off the last one, not the leg. Anyway, right, let's get down to the shop, see if they've got any blister plasters, and I'll report back later on after some fizzy juice. Woohoo! Right, had a wee break here. I had treated myself to a can of Coke and a can of Fanta. But now the real adventure begins, to be honest with you. It's been an adventure so far with the two mountains, but this is where I go off the beaten track and the suffering begins, I think. So I'm going to get the tent down and I'll report back when I'm on the trail. Another thing was leaving the tent out whilst I was up the hills, allowed it to dry. There was a lot of dew and condensation on it this morning, so it's nice and dry and a lot lighter, which I'll appreciate in the next few hours. I think I'm going to be trekking for maybe 7 or 8 hours now with a full pack on, so the lighter I can make it, the better it can be. Time to go. Oh right, well things are changing. It's about an hour since I've left the campsite and the wind's picked up and it looks a bit threatening over this way. And when I was walking through Inverie, the Isle of Rum disappeared. So there's obviously some heavy showers. I met a local heading up the hill. That's the hill I was up this morning, just behind me. And they did say there would be a few showers this afternoon and this evening. So I'm just hoping that, well, I'm hoping that they bypass us, but it doesn't feel that way at the moment. It feels like the weather's on the slide. So anyway, where am I going? I'm heading over here. This big bulk is Ladhar Bheinn, and if it all goes well, I'll end up on that in a day or two's time. But I'm going to try and head to the Bealach between Ladhar Bheinn and the Corbett, Ben and Cailach. And that's where if I can get there, I'll be all set for tomorrow and possibly an attack on Ladhar Bheinn. But yeah, things aren't looking too rosy at the moment. Anyway, time to crack on and I'll report back a bit later on. Nice track though. The rain was pretty constant. It wasn't heavy rain, but it was raining nonetheless, and I just got my head down with that big backpack on and just kept on going to see how it'd feel. I really hadn't tested myself with such weight and such a big backpack on for a distance since that last trip 6 months ago, so I was still feeling a bit apprehensive, to be honest. Right. I've reached the bridge, as you can see. At this point I start heading north, up the glen. I've come up and over a pass, gained height and I've dropped back down, so this pass, or this glen, I'll be about 300 or 400 metres of ascent till I get to the point where I'm really wanting to camp. So I'm going to stop in a minute. I've been walking for about 2 hours since leaving the campsite. I reckon it'll be another 3 or 4 hours till I get there, so I need to get some lunch, but I'm going to head round a wee bit and see if I can get a nice spot to stop. Oh, and the rain hasn't really stopped since I did the last bit of the camera. That hill up there is where I was this morning, went round the other side and all the way round. Like that, lovely little waterfall on the way up. There's Ladhar Bheinn up there. And then the Cailach up there. Still a fair bit to go though. That's lovely. Put a smile on my face. Absolutely gorgeous view waterfall. Might stop here for a wee minute or two. This path is actually very nice. I think it's a stalker's path. Lovely. Why do I think it's a stalker's path? Well, there's been quite a few big dumps of pony poo. I think it's pony poo anyway, so it makes me think it's used later on in the year. And I'm making good progress. You know what, this heavy bag, I was dreading it. I was really kind of not looking forward to this walk in. I've strapped my burning ankle up. I'll talk about that later on. What I did and what I forgot to bring and blah blah blah, but I've sorted it out now. And I can now see where I've got to go, so I'll spin you around and you can see how far I've got to go. Ooh. Right, hopefully you can see what I can see. So this Bealach or saddle, that's where the wee loch-in is. That's called Mam Lee, and that's where I'm hoping to set up camp. The time is now 5:15 and things seem to be improving. It's brightening up again. I know I did ask for a wee bit of cloud cover and I certainly got it, and it rained. It wasn't heavy rain, but it rained for a good few hours now, but it just seems to be a change in the air again. This cloud seems to be clearing off. I can see blue skies further south, so fingers crossed they return for when I set up camp. So I think another couple of hours, but I'm just taking it easy. There's no rush. I've got daylight until probably not far away from 11 o'clock. I'm not far away from the longest day of the year, so I ain't going to rush, and I'm just going to enjoy it. It's lovely. Wee breeze picking up now, so when I'm stopping there's no midge. There was a few midge further down, but no, you know what, in comparison, for instance, when we did the Skye Trail last year, oh my god, it's not a fraction of what, or as bad as they were on that. So, but that was later in the year. Right, stop, yabbering on, let's go, and I'll report back in a wee while. After a few more kilometres, I came to suppose my first obstacle, which was a burn crossing. It wasn't too high, although there had been lots of rain in the previous days. The burn wasn't in spate. And you know, another wee tip for you, I always take walking poles with me anyway, but they really come into their own for this sort of stuff. When you've got a big heavy backpack on and you're having to tippy toe across a burn. And I was keen not to put my feet in the water just in case my boots got wet because of the issue I had with the rubbing. If you've got wet boots and wet feet, it makes it a little bit worse. So I was just taking my time and using the poles for balance, and eventually got across the river. I was glad to get to the other side with some dry feet. Right, that was hip belt cam crossing the wee river there, the wee burn. I can imagine that would be quite problematic in spate, but not an issue on a day like today. It's beautiful. But I was keen to try and keep my feet dry after them getting wet that first day, and I think that's what's caused the issues with a few blisters. But anyway, I'm across now, so just need to get up there now. It's not getting any closer, any quicker. After me saying I was making good progress, but anyway, I'm sure I'll be up there in a few hours. Let's go. Oh man, I'm feeling it now. I've just stopped, had a bite to eat, and I'm not very far. I think I'm only a couple of 100 metres away from this lock-in that I'm hoping to camp. But my god, this last bit, I was doing really well along the track, but as soon as there's a bit of ascent and the track disappears, that big heavy pack really does, it does slow you down. Anyway, I'm hoping the lock-in's just over my shoulder here, because I could really do with just getting set up now. It's 6:30. If I spin you around, that mountain over the back there is the Corbett, which I'll probably do tomorrow. I can't believe I was actually thinking, when I was feeling good down there, I was thinking I might just nip up there and summit camp. Not a hope in hell. And there's Ladhar Bheinn over there, the other target, if I get there. I don't know. Right. Hopefully the next time you'll see me, I'll have found a pitch next to the lock-in. And then again, maybe not. Right, let's do it. Let's go and find a pitch. I found the lock-in. It's away down there, and I kept on going up. It was just so boggy down there. And I've come up here, and there's not really anywhere dry, but I don't think I'm going to get anywhere dry, like bone dry. This looks about as good as I'm going to get, so I'm going to pitch the tent here and then get my tea on. It is now 7:15, so let's get the tent up and I can relax, hopefully. Famous last words. So in my haste to get a dry camping spot, I forgot the whole reason that I was trying to get close to that lock-in was for a water source. So I'm way up. I'm about, I don't know, 20 metres vertically up there. I've dropped down to try and find some water, but I was just, I don't know if you can hear that. I couldn't find anything, and I let my ears do the work. And there's a wee bit of flowing water here, so I'm going to fill up some water here. It saves me dropping away down. Well, it's not far, but down there. Hopefully, it might take a while. It's just a trickle. Oh, tell you what, I'm glad the tent's up. It's just right beside the beside the camera. I've just not got it in shot, and I've got my tea cooking. What have I got in for? Let me just show you what food I'm eating. It's Expedition Foods. I have these quite a lot actually. It was Ray from RS Outdoors that introduced me to these, and they've been great. I always try and go for the 1,000-calorie ones for days like today. I will definitely need all those calories because I'm starving. And I usually leave it for about 20 minutes once I've put the boiling water in. And it's chili con carne with rice, and if memory serves me right, it's got a wee kick about it, which is nice. So I'll be looking forward to that in 20 minutes. Anyway, quite nice now, the sun's out. I've got my socks off, I can see my foot It's not badly blistered, the heel, but it's red raw, and it's my own fault. I think when I was running about trying to trying to remember or trying to find a gas canister in the morning at my leg, I kind of just that was what my mind was focused on. And in the van, back in the van, I've got about 3 packets of Compeed plus these other blister plasters, and they're still in the van. So what I did was I used the first aid kit in my bag, which has been in there for a long time, and put a plaster, just a normal plaster around it, and it seemed to help. And I got going and had some painkillers, and it's been fine actually. But tomorrow's a big day, so I'm just trying to air it. I'm trying to get the socks and my shoes dry. I think that first day up that first mountain, up that bog fest, it's just horrendous. And it's soaked there's a few times I lost my foot down a bog, and then my feet were soaking, and anyway, it is what it is. So I'm glad to get where I am now. I'm on the other side of the Knoydart Peninsula now. I can see Ben Skriel and Arnisdale's just over there, and I'm well positioned to try and get this Corbett done tomorrow and then make a start on Ladhar Bheinn. As I said, I have to be on Ladhar Bheinn summit at some point on Saturday, and I'll explain more as the trip goes on. But I'm at about 450, 500 metres now, and I think Ben Nicalich is about 800, 750, 800, so it shouldn't take me too long to nip up there. I'm thinking of leaving the tent here, nipping up there with a light pack, and then coming back here, getting everything packed up, and just take my time to head round to Ladhar Bheinn. But we'll see. I'm just glad to get here. I'm going to sit out in the sunshine, enjoy my food, and then go to sleep probably. Guess it's been a long day. It has been a long day. Right. Let's turn you off. Right, morning folks. I've just woken up. Oh, before I forget, here's my eye patch that I was talking about. Works a treat. Really nice and dark, so that did its job last night. What time is it? It's about 6:30 in the morning. I woke up about half an hour ago, and the sun has just been streaming into the tent. It's beautiful. I've got a great view over towards I'm pretty sure it's the Glen Shiel Mountains beyond Ben Skriel and Arnisdale. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I've just been watching the cloud moving across the top of them. They've got a wee cap of cloud on them. I'll cut to some footage. Anyway, a wee bit of breezier this morning, nothing too bad. Breezy through the night, but again I wear earplugs along with my eye mask. So it kind of works, and what I tend to find is when I've had long days, there's not much that's going to stop me from sleeping, to be honest with you. So yesterday was a long day, and today is going to be a big day as well. And I need to, again, I'm well positioned. I'm going to head up the Corbett behind me first, and then come back to the tent, and then it's the big one. Pick the tent up with the heavy pack and head up the highest point of the trip, which is Ladhar Bheinn, and I really need to get there. I need to be near the summit so I can get onto the top for tomorrow, and there's a reason for that, which I'll come on to. I'll explain that later on, but for now I need some coffee, so I'm going to get up, get the coffee on, and just enjoy the sunshine. It looks like it's going to be a glorious day. Yeah, I've got my light bags. I'm a bit concerned. It looks like it's quite rocky, quite a bit scrambling. So that's my first concern. The second concern of today is the final pull. If I make it that far, up to Ladhar Bheinn with the big pack on, that looks guy steep. The contours on the map are a bit too close together for my liking. But anyway, let's worry about getting up the first hill first, and then I'll worry about Ladhar Bheinn later on. Let's go. Came up over that escarpment behind us. There's a bit of route finding there and a few ups and downs, but I can see the mountain about halfway along the Bealach. So tell you what, getting a bit warm. I don't know if you've heard of the saying, be bold, start cold. But I'll tell you what, I wasn't bold this morning. And I'm overheating, so I'm going to stop here, take this big jacket off and put something a bit lighter on, because I know I'm going to get warmer as I start to pull up the hill. Wow. Oh, freshness. It was a good place to stop and just de-layer a wee bit before I actually started climbing up. And you never know how steep or rocky the ground's going to be when you get onto the climb, so it's always a good idea just to do it before you start, and you can have some nice level ground. Anyway, I did that, got the backpack back on, it was soon time to start heading up the first mountain of the day. That's me on the shoulder of the mountain now. What a day, I tell you. I'm almost getting too warm now in my wee thin jumper and gilet. I might have to take it off, but if you look over my left shoulder, which will be to your right, that's the loching that I'm camped above. And over my other shoulder is Ben Skriel. Can now see it above Arnisdale, and it's looking magnificent. It does feel like the wind's coming in from the east, northeast, which means west is best. And maybe it explains why there's a wee bit of cloud sitting over the Glen Shiel hills, which sit a bit further to the east. But yeah, can't complain. Lovely. I'm just taking my time, going as slowly as I can, because there ain't no rush. And I don't want to hurt anything, so I'm getting old, you know. Let's go. Over here's Ladhar Bheinn, which I'm heading to later on, and you can now see the route that I'll be taking. It's basically from the tent, I'll be going right around and along this this quarry, and the last bit's really quite steep. That's the bit I'm a bit worried about, but that's going to be a right good pull with a big heavy backpack on. Hence another reason why I'm taking it slow, just to conserve energy. It's going to be a long day, but hopefully worth it when I get to the top. Well, of here and of Ladhar Bheinn, hopefully. So the pull up wasn't too bad, and there was a path which was coming and going. With these hills being so remote, they don't get that much footfall. But every now and again I'd pick up the remnants of a path. But you're pretty much on a ridge here, so you can't really go too far astray. But it was just lovely, and before long I was approaching this summit. Oh yes. The summit of Ben the Cailach. And God, I'm glad to be here. This is the third Corbett, and this is another Corbett that I've never done before, so I'm really quite pleased with myself to have got here. It's taken me about an hour and a half from the campsite, but the views are just stunning. What a day. It's definitely best as west. There's a bit of cloud rolling in from the east now, like I said earlier on, but you know what, I'm not going to sit here. I'm actually going to head out just a wee bit, 20 or 30 metres there, to show you the views, because they are spectacular. So bear with me, and I'll show you what I'm looking at over my shoulder. Right, we'll head over here. Oh, scrapey McScrapey. What a view. Whoa! Well, it's worth coming maybe 20 or 30 metres to the west of the summit cairn, because it starts to drop off here, and I've now got Isle of Skye before me. Again, you can see over to Arnisdale and Ben Screel. It's just absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. And immediately ahead of me, I think that's the Sleat Peninsula. And you've got the Isle of Rum over here, Egg. Down, you can see down to Mallaig, which is where I'll be heading tomorrow, hopefully, all being well. But yeah, I'll maybe give you a wee 360 from over here. But I'm going to sit down here because it's one of the best viewpoints that I've seen since yesterday. Oh man. Oh, wow. What a place. Right, I've been sat here for about half an hour, and it's time to head back to the tent. I'm going to head back down there, maybe chill for a wee minute or two down at the tent before breaking tent, and then breaking camp, before heading on for the big test of the day, which is trying to get to the summit of Ladhar Bheinn, so I'm well placed for this summit tomorrow. So let's make a move. Look at this. Nothing beats Skye, even though when I'm not on Skye, I just keep looking at it and thinking it looks amazing, because, well, it is amazing. So is here. This is amazing as well. As I said before, it's the mountains and the sea, this western seaboard of Scotland. When the weather's good, it's hard to beat. Absolutely fabulous. Right, enough talking. Let's get walking. And off we go. Well, I've come back down over the hill. That's the hill behind me. That was up, lovely. And I tried to, something I always try and do, a wee tip, is if I can see where I'm going from the top of the hill, I try and make a mental note of landmarks. Just, there's a number of reasons for that. There's, you know, if the cloud comes in, it's not going to happen today. If the cloud comes in, it can help you, as well as using the map, of course. But for today, this is very rough ground. The rough bounds of Knoydart, you know, it lives up to its name here. And there's lots of rocky, there's no paths, there's lots of rocky and bits and bogs. I've now just spotted my tent over there, so I'd actually identified this bowl below me, and I thought if I head for that bowl, I know that the tent's just beyond, so I can see it now, so it's a nice, easy jaunt down to the tent now, so let's go. And I'm going to relax for an hour in the tent, I think. Oh, I'm glad to get back. Oh man. Oh, the tent. Time to relax for a minute or two before getting packed up. When I got back down to the tent, I actually sat for half an hour and had a wee bite to eat before getting up and starting to take the tent down and, you know, load the bag back up again. It does make a big difference having a lighter bag, and I knew now heading for the highest and biggest mountain of the adventure, I was going to have to put up with the heaviest backpack as well, because I was going to have to carry water all the way to the summit, and I also knew there wasn't much in the way of paths. This was going to be tough. One last check, make sure I've not left anything. Right, now the pain begins. And just at the side of the shot, you can see where I'm headed, but it's a big long, I think there's about 4 peaks I've got to go up and then drop. Each one of them's about a 100-metre drop. And again, I'm quite worried about the very last pool. But anyway, first stop is to go down and get some water, and I'm going to start climbing this first peak. So, less talking. Let's get walking, I suppose, again. Right, I'll need to stop and get some water here. So I'll need plenty of it today. I just finish what I've got in here as well. Wow, well there's a view to behold. That's me now on the ridge, thankfully. And I just took my time. I was really just going dead slow and stop because there's no rush. I know it's just, I mean, it looks impossibly steep up there with this big backpack on, but I'll get there. But look at this, I forgot how beautiful Barrisdale Bay is. The turquoise waters down there, then down Loch Hourn towards Kinlochhorn. And of course that's the adventure we did, oh I don't know, a couple of years ago. Me and Jerry kayaked in to Barrisdale and came up Ladhar Bheinn. It was similar to this, it was fantastic. So it seems to be smiling on me, the weather gods. Absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I need to go up this next peak, then it drops down a few hundred metres before the real crux of the day. I'm looking forward to getting to the top because I've also got something special with me which I've brought all the way up the mountain, and I'll reveal all. It's not whiskey. I'll reveal all hopefully when I get to my summit camp. There were a few ups and a few downs still to go along this ridge. It's quite undulating, and with the big backpack on full of water, I was taking my time, and I was also making sure I was nice and hydrated. But when I got down to the bottom of the final down before the final up, I decided it was time just to take 5 minutes, maybe have a wee siesta before tackling the worst part and the hardest part of the day. Just taking a wee seat, lying down, so comfy. Got this rock behind me, I don't know if you can see it, there's a rock in my bag. I'm just sitting contemplating because the next bit will spin you around and let you see what I'm looking at. The next bit's the steep bit, so I've got to drop down here and then the summit is there. So I think the plan of action will be I'll drop down up to about here. I'm hoping there's some lochans there where I'll fill my water up. And this is the really steep bit I'm quite worried about. And then along the skyline up, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. I'm at the top. As easy as that, just easy. But right now, I'm just chilling, it's 2 o'clock. It's actually, when you get out of the wind, it's quite a bit of warmth in that sun. I plastered the plaster myself with sun cream earlier on, and I've drank loads and loads of water, and I'm going to need it going up here because this is going to be one steep pool. So I think I'll just sit for another, I don't know, half an hour, then fill up with jelly babies, and that will fuel my ascent. Wow, what a mountain though. Look at that. I suppose. Oh, it's a brobby nap. Need to get moving though, don't I? Got to get up there. This is where the really steep bit begins. Right, let's go. That's me at the start of the climb now. Look, if I spin round you'll see where we're going up there. It does look a bit intimidating. There is a couple of pools here, but I'm pretty sure about 100 or 200 metres vertically there's some pools there which will be the last source of water I can get. There is a wee bit of a breeze, I don't know if you'll be able to pick that up. So I'm not worried, but it could be quite a breezy camp tonight if I'm going onto the summit. There's not really anywhere to get shelter once you're up there on the summit. It's quite a narrow ridge, as you'll see, hopefully. Anyway, I need to shut up, and I'm just going to take my time. I reckon it could be another 2 or 3 hours till I'm up there. But I've got all the time in the world, so Yeah, let's go. Oh, there we go. This was the start of the ascent onto the mountain. But the first part of it is, although it is steep, it takes you up to a level platform where there's a couple of lochans, and it's really after these lochans where the contours start to get a bit too close together. So I made my way up there to try and fill it with water before heading up onto the mountain top. Oh right, I've come up one steep bit, and that's the next steep bit where we're there. And everything looks a lot more achievable now. There's the summit. But I'm looking for these lochans. There's a small pond just there, but I really want to find these. There's a couple of bigger lochans where I need to fill up the water. So I'm hoping that's just out of sight beyond this wee ridge. But yeah, I'm feeling good. Just been taking my time. I can see people on the ridge up there. Let me just see if I can spot them out for you, or zoom in. Just up there's a couple of walkers. I don't know if you can see them. On the ridge line. About the middle of the picture, I think. Anyway, let's go and find this water. Here's the water source. So when I fill up here, I can actually hear voices of other people now up in the ridge. It's the first time I've heard a voice since I left Inverie. So yeah, time to stock up on the water supplies, and the next bit's steep as well, so let's do that. God, I look so close. But my foot's rubbing again, so I'm going to stop and get that first aid kit out. I really need to make it up here. And the reason that I'm really keen to do it, and I need to be up there for Saturday, is it's the Archie's day. I don't know if I've mentioned this, apologies if I have already, but yeah, the Archie's is the charity event that I did a video on earlier in the year, and try to get somebody, the organisers are trying to get somebody up every 1,000 metre peak in Scotland for the children's charity, which is called the Archies, and hence why they've called the hills over 1,000 metres the Archies. I'm sure that makes sense. So that is tomorrow. It's Friday today, and I'm hoping to do a summit camp up here. And I'm tempted just to stay here to rest my my foot, and it's hurting a wee bit. But you know what? I'm just keen to get up there. I'd love to be able to report first thing in the morning, maybe with sunrise, that I'm on top of the Arches. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but it's for a good cause. I'll put a link to the charity below, so feel free to make any donations. And I've got a Just Giving page, which I'm hoping still live, so I'll stick that in the link below as well. So if you're feeling generous, then please do go down and click the link and donate anything, even £1. It all helps. It's a wonderful children's charity in Scotland. So anyway, I suppose if I'm going to do this, I better get this ankle wrapped up and taped up, and then I'll bash up here. You know what? Legs feel fine, my knee feels fine, but whether it'll feel fine on the way down, who knows. Anyway, shut up, Murray. What a day. What a day. Oh, I look so close, so let's give it my best shot. Let's do this. Oh, and the wave's heavier because I filled it with water. Oh, so heavy. Oh man. Right, to the top. My ankle and heel were all taped up now, and now was the crux, as I said. I knew this was going to be tough, and my bag was as heavy as it possibly could be because I'd filled up with litres of water, because I knew it'd be a while, and overnight actually, before I could get more water. So up I headed, and to start off with, it wasn't too bad, but there was worse to come. It just got steeper and steeper. But at this part, yeah, it wasn't as bad as it was later on, let's put it that way. I stopped for a wee break, got a wee perch, and it wasn't until I sat down in the perch I've realised where I am, and I faced the other way. Let me just show you this. Look at that. Doesn't look that steep on the camera, but by God, that's don't want to trip here. But the views, the views. There's Skye out in the horizon, down to Ben Screal, and then you can see right down Loch Hourn that way. It's just lovely. And I reckon I'm about halfway up the mountain, well, halfway up the steep bit, so I just need to carefully get my backpack on without falling. There's no paths up here, but I knew that. Once I get to the top of here, it'll be good. I'll be on a path, and I think I'll be just about there. So, time to concentrate and not do anything silly. But look at that. One more spin round. Whoa, beauty. Ain't that beautiful? Oh, right, let's go. Oh, right. Since I last pieced the camera, it's just steepened. It's getting almost uncomfortably steep. I'm on a wee ledge here, so I thought I'd stop and do a bit to camera. But look at that down there. Again, it doesn't look that bad in the camera, but my God, it's not a place for the backpack to allow you to roll down. It's just very, very, very steep. This last wee bit, maybe the last 100 metres, is really steepened up. So what I'm going to try and do is cut across the hill to the col, so I'm not going right to the top here. And yeah, just watch I don't do anything silly. Right folks, that gets steeper and steeper and steeper, and I am one glad person to be on the ridge now. But look at this, if I spin you around, you'll see the amazing corrie that I'm now looking at. There we go, there's the summit there. I have to drop down again, but this looks like it's just come out of Jurassic Park, this bit. Absolutely beautiful. So, onwards. I think I'm going to make it. Let's go. I'm one relieved gentleman to be on this ridge now. Never again. Do not recommend that. That was steep. Nearly there though. It certainly had been steep getting up onto the top of the ridge and finding the path. And I had tried to contour round to the Bealach, but it just got steeper and steeper, so I headed straight up, facing in, and got onto that ridge. And from the ridge, it's a short pull up to the summit. Some of this footage with the action cam is a bit distorted and makes it look way steeper, although it did feel that steep when I was coming up it. But what a lovely, lovely part of the mountain this is. In fact, this is probably one of the best parts, or my favourite parts of Ladhar Bheinn, is this narrow ridge when you're looking down into that east-facing corrie. It is a special place. Wee narrow path with steep-sided slopes heading down to your left and to your right. And on a day like today, it was just magical. Anyway, onwards I went, and before long, I was on the summit ridge of Ladhar Bheinn and starting to look for a spot to pitch my tent. What a place. Wow. The summit ridge of Ladhar Bheinn. What a place. You can see all the way down. The views in all directions are just stunning. What a place, and it's definitely one to be kept for a good day like today. Oh man, look at that, right down Loch Hourn, and this is that hill on the left here pictures where I came up. I think I should have picked my way up to the Bealach. It looks slightly less steep, but I'm glad to be here now. So now I need to go and find a pitch, find somewhere to put the tent, and there's plenty of good spots here. There's the summit of Ladhar Bheinn. You'll see I'm giving it a wide berth because I need to come and touch it tomorrow, not tonight. Right, let's get somewhere to pitch the tent. Whoo-wee. Right. Feeling it now. I'm absolutely knackered now, so let's get the tent up. A bit more flat ground around here, so I'm going to find a nice spot facing west, hopefully. Oh, this looks quite nice. Oh, this will do. Wow, yes. Right, let's get the tent up here. Take this big backpack off. Oh, might have a seat for a wee while before I put the tent up. Oh yeah. Oh. Oh. Jelly babies. That's what I've not had. Going to devour a few of them. Jelly babies have done the trick. Feel a bit better now. I still need a proper tea though. I think it's chicken korma tonight. And my special treat I've carried all the way up. Oh, right, that's me, as you can probably see, all set up. What a spot. But have you ever been so tired you can't be bothered making your tea? That's what I'm feeling just now. I think it's just hit me. Anyway, it's the first time the sun's gone away actually, but I can see there's blue skies over there. It's just this one, a rogue cloud. It'd be nice if that hung around for sunset, but anyway. I am going to make my tea, and the treat that I brought with me is a can of Coke. Is it better than a whiskey? Yeah, I need a can of Coke just now. I bought it at the shop at Inverie, so I'm going to cook up my dinner and have it with the Coke, and hopefully that'll give me a wee bit more energy, and I'll do a wee bit more to camera later on as the sun goes down. But yeah, time for a bite to eat now. What an evening. It's absolutely glorious. There's a few other people come by. It's been nice chatting to them. I'm just off the main path. There's not many places to camp up here. And this will be my third trip up to Ladhar Bheinn, but I've never done it for Inverie. Both previous trips I've done from Kinlochhourn and that way. In fact, you've probably seen the video. I'll put it in the description when me and Jerry kayaked in. That was amazing. That was an amazing trip as well. But yeah, I'm super happy to have bagged the 3 Corbetts here, and I think had I not had to be on this top tomorrow for the Archies, I might have come over the Corbett above Inverie, and that ridge goes all the way around and comes up to the top of Ladhar Bheinn. So you could theoretically go up there and then follow the ridge round here and then go down and round to the other Corbett. That would be the logical way to do it, but yeah. Who needs logical? I've had an absolute blast. I've got a signal up here, and I've just seen the weather, and I think this is the warmest place in the UK, the Northwest Highlands, at a whopping 22 degrees. Brilliant, what a day. I tell you what, that ascent from the Lochan up, I wouldn't advise that. That was, especially with the big pack on, that was super, super steep, especially near the top. I've never been so glad to see a path than I did earlier on today. But what a place. What a place. Hoping for a nice sunset now, so I'll report back when the sun goes down. What time is it now? It's 8 o'clock. Another couple of hours before it goes down. It's just lovely. The views are stunning. Ooh, I tell you what, there's a fair breeze picking up now. It's just gorgeous. There's a wee bit of cloud just over towards Skye, and as I said earlier on, I'm hoping that's going to stick around, but it really is. I'm just doing a time lapse here, let me turn it off. Oh, it really has been spectacular. And what's made it quite unusual for the summer is it's crystal clear. I mean, I reckon I can see a way up to Ascent today. I certainly can see well past Torridon and way out to the Outer Hebrides. And usually in the summer when you get good weather, it's a bit hazy, but not today. It's been absolutely brilliant. So hopefully something happens round about sunset, we shall see. But oh, tell you what, I'll be jumping back in there just now, because when that wind blows, it's a wee bit chilly. It's not warm. And yeah, hopefully I get a good night's sleep. I'm going to try and get up early so I can mark my Archie in the morning for the charity, and then I need to catch a ferry, so it's not over yet. I've still got a fair bit of work to do before the adventure's over, but for now I'm going to head back into the tent. I'll report back in a wee while. Right, we are not far from sunset now, and it's just glorious. The Outer Hebrides, you can actually see them more pronounced now, but you know, I was talking about it being very clear, and that seems to be getting even more so as the sun's going down. Anyway, I think these clouds might go a nice shade of pink in a minute or two. In fact, they're already starting to turn, so it could be a glorious, glorious sunset. Let's wait and see. I tell you what, it's not warm. In fact, it's blowing cold, so I might retreat to the tent and just wait for those clouds to turn and see what happens. Well, that's it. The sun has gone, and unfortunately there must be some high level cloud away out in the horizon, because these clouds closest to us, they did start to catch, but they didn't catch like I was wanting them to catch, unfortunately. But still, what a lovely lovely way to finish the day. And you know what, it's been a good day. There's been a lot of ups and downs. It's been a big couple of days, and I've just been taking my time, going really slow, and I think the physio that I've been doing has been helping me, because I'm not talking about my knee, I'm just talking about my hill strength. I mean, I've done a lot of altitude, and I would have struggled usually or been panting and I felt alright, but maybe it's just because I was going ultra slow, I don't know. But anyway, this is what it's all about, isn't it? Just sitting watching the sun go down and mountains everywhere you look. It's just my idea of heaven. Just absolutely fantastic. And I just met a lovely father out with his kids. They'd come up to watch the sunset. It's fair play to them as well, coming in. They'd come in from Kinlochhorn, and I know how hard that is. It's one tough pull. So there's a few folk that have made the effort to get up here, and you know what? It's always worth it. But when you get conditions like this, you can't beat it. So I'm going to hit the hay now. Possibly get up early. I'm not sure if I'm going to get up for sunrise, but I need to get up and bag that Archie for the charity event tomorrow. Right, see you in the morning. Night night. Right, morning folks, looks like it's quite nice out there. Let's have a look and see. Oh yes. Let's head up to the summit. Let's go. Past the trig point. This isn't actually the summit. Another 100 metres to go. Oh, it's going to be a nice day. Tell you what, it was cold last night. Didn't sleep very well. But anyway, it's 5 in the morning. The sun's been up for about 20 minutes, so just missed sunrise. Oh yes. Now I can touch the summit. Ah, there we go. And the reason I didn't touch the summit yesterday is because we have to do it today for the charity. I don't know if I mentioned it, but the aim is to get somebody on top of every 1,000 metre peak or an Archie today, so that's Ladhar Bheinn done. Yes. Right, I'm just going to take things in. Watch this sunrise, it's beautiful. Look at that. Oh. Well, that's that done. It's now 25 to 6. And as I said, I didn't sleep very well. It was blooming freezing, it was cold. In fact, I've actually got 2 jackets on. I've got the duvet jacket on. Although it's not frosty, it's cold, but the wind's died right down. Oh, what a glorious morning it's been. Or it is, and it's turning in to be. I think the day is going to be fine as well, but I'm going to go back, get some breakfast, chill in the tent for a wee while, and then I've got a ferry to catch. I need to get back down to Inverie by about 2ish. It should be okay, but I'm just a bit wary about the steep descent in my knee, which I'm sure is going to be fine, but it's certainly a good test for it. But what a morning, what a place, and what a fantastic peak to finish on, really. I'm so glad that I came out, and I've managed to bag 3 new peaks, and this is the 3rd time I've been at the top of Ladhar Bheinn, and it's a special mountain, definitely one to be kept for weather like it is at the moment. Absolutely beautiful. Right, let's nip back along at the tent, get some breakfast. So having summited Ladhar Bheinn and feeling pretty pleased with myself, I headed the short distance back west along the ridge towards that distinctive trig point where my tent was just beyond. And it was turning into another day like it had for the previous 3. It was just stunning. And the clarity for this time of year, it was just amazing. You could see for miles and miles. So I got back to the tent, got my coffee on, and just, had breakfast with a view. Oh, here we go again. Although the pack's a wee bit, well, it's a lot lighter because there's not much water left. I'll need to fill up on water when I get down. But this is going to be one steep descent. Still a bit of a trek back to the pier where I catch the ferry. And if I miss that, I'm stuffed. The adventure might go on for a bit longer, but I'm hoping to get down there in plenty of time. Just going to take it easy again. It's warm, sun cream's on. Got my hat on, got my sunnies ready. Let's go. Oh yeah. That's me down at the riverbed, getting some water. So I was running out. I've been making do with all that water I picked up before going up that steep climb. And I think I've mentioned this, another use, it's really, I mean, it must be about 20 degrees. It's really warm for Scotland. You'll be laughing at me if you live in a place where it is actually warm. The buffs are great for when it's relatively warm, I find, because I keep them under the hat. It's just, oh, that's nice. Use them to give my head a wee bit of a soaking. Then it's nice and damp. I can just pop it back on and that keeps my napper cool for a wee bit. Looks silly but keeps me cool. Right, another hour and I think I'll be back at Inverie just in time for the ferry, hopefully. Well, it's nice to be on the Land Rover track now. And that's Ladhar Bheinn behind me, the big bulk of the mountain, but you know what, it's not the best side of it. It's impressive, but the best side I think is always the other side of it. If you get the choice and you can do it, I think the Barrisdale Bay route coming in from Kinlochthorne or starting at Barrisdale is a lot nicer. The corries on the other side are a lot more picturesque, shall we say. Still not bad from this side, but it's a bit like Ben Nevis. One side of it's a bit rounded and domed and the other side's got all the features. Anyway, let's get going. I think another hour and I'll be in Inverie. A good way to finish off my roll. Pint of fresh orange. So this was on the lawn outside the Old Forge in Inverie, and that sandwich and pint of orange juice and lemonade was just, oh, it was well needed. Anyway, I finished that and it was soon time to head along and just wait for the boat to come and pick us up. It was something that I wasn't looking forward to. I really didn't want to leave Knoydart. It had been a special trip, but leave it we must, and soon the boat appeared on the horizon and slowly made its way to drop off a set of new adventurers and visitors to Knoydart and take us away and back to my leg. I was sad to see the Knoydart land disappear behind me, and before long we were heading back into my leg. What an adventure it had been, and the good thing was, well, 3 new Corbetts, but my knee had held out alright and I felt okay, although pretty knackered. Anyway, soon we were getting off the boat and back onto land. There I am. Off the ferry. Lovely journey back. All that's needed now is a long 4-hour drive home, so if you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you on the next adventure.